Hi, I'm Kevin from Ken's ProSound, and this is part 2 of our explanation about direct boxes. In this part, we're going to talk a little about some specialty devices that are in the direct box family, but they're a little bit different. And we're going to compare the standard direct box to this specialty direct box here. And what I encourage you to do is watch part 1, which we go into a little more detail about what direct boxes are capable of doing and how to use them. So we're kind of assuming you watch direct box 1, and this is direct box 2, so let's get right into it. So we get a lot of phone calls here at Ken's ProSound from different customers asking us specifically, how do we hook our laptop or our cell phone or an iPad directly into the system? And a lot of times what you'll hear from people is, well, hey, let's just use a direct box. So, using a direct box is not necessarily a bad idea. So what happens a lot of times is people will just grab a cable, and here's your 1/8 inch that goes into your device. Here's 2 RCA cables that plugs into your mixer. So we're going to start by using a laptop, and I just plugged into the headphone jack. So now what happens, I need to get into my direct box, so I'm going to use a couple of RCA to 1/4 inch adapters. And I plug it in, and whiz boom bang, I have it plugged into my direct box, and I run it into the XLR output. And these 2 connectors here are in parallel, and that's just basically, there's a piece of wire hooking them together. It's the same thing as a Y cord. Then it goes into the isolation transformer, and it comes out the other side, and it feeds it into our mixing console. Now the downside to this is, this laptop now, the right and left channel are summed together between these 2 connectors via that jumper in here. So I have no control over my right and my left audio. Sometimes that's okay, sometimes it's not. Now, the way to solve that problem is you grab a second direct box, and notice I just grabbed one off the table here that I had. So now I have my red connector and my white connector, right and left, and then we can eat up 2 channels on our mixing console to get the right and left input. Another advantage to this is that this configuration isolates the right and the left output off your line level, in most cases your speaker level or your headphone output, so it doesn't short out the little chip inside. That some of them don't like it, some of them don't care, but the best way is to use 2 separate direct boxes. Now, there's another device out there that works quite well, and you don't have to use 2 direct boxes. So I'm going to unplug these 2, and I'm going to move them off to the side. We're going to talk about another part of the direct box family. Here is a specialty device. This one happens to be made by the Rapco Horizon company, and what this device does is it comes with a 1/8 inch stereo input, goes into the input of the box. It has the isolation transformer, the ground lift switch, just like your direct box, and it mono sums it into your XLR connector, so I can plug my mic jack into it. So you might be asking yourself, why is this special? It's special because there is a resistive network that isolates the right and the left channel, combines them properly, puts them into this little volume control right here, which is quite handy, so that when I plug it in to my laptop, I now have the right left is summed. I have a ground lift switch in case the thing buzzes, and it sums it to my XLR output. So now I would adjust my laptop level somewhere between 50%, but not 100%, because we don't want to distort the output of the laptop. Then what we can do is turn this volume control to maximum, adjust our controls on our channel strip to get the maximum level that we want, and now you can have a remote control volume control right next to your laptop. It's very handy when you're doing things like corporate presentations, a podium, a church pulpit, things of that nature where the speaker has their laptop right next to them. And in a perfect world, all of our audio files would be 100% equal. But we know that doesn't always happen. So it's really nice to have this knob here to where something comes out of your computer, it's a little bit low, you just turn it up a little bit. Comes out a little hot, you turn it down a little bit. That way you don't have to rely on the keys on your computer. It's just much quicker and much easier. Another nice thing about it, it has a built-in ground lift switch, because if we run off batteries, we typically don't have a problem with the buzz. But as most of us know, I think everybody has one, we have a little power supply. And we plug this power supply into the wall, we plug the other end into our laptop, and it keeps the batteries from going dead. But in many instances, these wall warts or cable lumps or whatever you're going to call them, the power supplies, they're notorious for generating noise that's quite undesirable. So this device right here really can be a lifesaver. So you just have to ask yourself, do I want to take the time to set up 2 direct boxes and have a right and a left input, take up 2 channels, which you can do that, and then you have independent control of the right and left channel output on your channel strips. If that is not a requirement, you just want to get the audio into the computer, out of the computer into the sound system, this is a very, very good solution. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug this one, just set them off to the side, and show you another direct box for this application. It's in the same family. This happens to be made by Rolls, and notice it's got 2 cool volume controls on the front. We'll get to that in a minute. On the back, it has your XLR output for your mono out, and it's got your 2 RCA inputs. And also, it's got 2 outputs that are paralleled, so you can jumper to another device. So what happens here is, you don't need your adapters. You take your input right here, right and left. Now I plug it into my laptop, and I plug my microphone jack into the back. Now I've got a remote control. It mono sums, but I can adjust how much of my left, how much of my right signal gets into the sound system. And by the way, I still have a ground lift switch right here. Really cool little box. Right, left input, mono output, 2 separate volume controls, and a ground lift switch in case you have some buzz. This is a really great device. Now, we're going to bring the other one back into the picture because we're going to just reiterate for just a moment what these help you do. I have my cell phone here. This happens to be a Samsung S4, and there's other devices, small little MP3 players, the portable ones you use at the gym or use for jogging. Some of these devices, not all of them, do not like their outputs shorted together. So what happens is when you take your plug, you plug it into your headphone jack, and then you plug it into a device like this direct box, and plug your right and left into these 2 plugs, and you just do this, which a lot of people do. It works sometimes it doesn't. Now I've taken my right left off my computer or my phone or whatever I'm doing, and remember, it's shorted together like a Y cord in here. And a lot of devices don't like that. So that's why we have this device. And remember earlier, it goes in, it has the resistive network that couples these 2 together, and then it brings them down to a mono output. This device does the same thing. Has your right and your left input, combines them together through the volume controls, isolates it, sends them out the mic jack into the mic cable. Very safe way to operate your iPhones, iPads, cell phones, laptop computers. You can like us, subscribe, or comment below. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.